Welcome back, it's Nine, and today we are going to be talking about Sony changing their blueprint. Now, going forward, we're going to see a different Sony. We're going to see a different PlayStation from what we've been used to. And what I mean by that is them introducing live service games. Now, Sony has revealed during its earnings call that it plans to ship 10 live service games by 2026. And I think it's important to note that these games are likely going to launch day and date with PC as well, just based on the fact that they're going to need that large player pool and player count to keep these games active and sustainable, especially when it comes to the financial side of things. Now, we shouldn't be worried about this. And I know there was some concern online. I saw that, and I can understand why there's concern about that, but I'm going to explain to you why you shouldn't be concerned about PlayStation going into this direction. As Jim Ryan, SIE CEO, says, "We intend to build upon our growing experience and ambition in the games as a service space to complement our continued strength in the narrative-led titles that PlayStation fans know and love." And basically, that's just really telling us that they are not going to stop doing those narrative-driven single-player experiences. We are still going to get those, and that's a very good sign. That just means that we're going to get even more than just the narrative single-player-driven experiences that a lot of people are so fond of. I like the idea of there being a variety, as we know that PlayStation's portfolio does have some gaps, and this is likely going to fix that problem. Now, the possible concerns that I think are going to come up naturally are the undeniable risk, as most games as a service actually fail, and Avengers recently is a great example of that. Now, mind you, if the gameplay mechanics and it's a very well-fleshed world and it's very immersive and engaging, I believe that it can survive, but we're talking about 10 by 2026. So is it possible to sustain 10 live service games with big audiences in such a short time frame? That's a good question. Now, obviously, we know that they took on Bungie, or they bought Bungie to help them with that, and that could be the difference maker here of them passing or failing with these projects, but only time will tell in those cases. So the next question is, what could these 10 games be, and who's developing them? And there's a long list of developers that they have and things that we don't know about. When it comes to the very few things that we do know, we know that Bungie is working on a new major IP. This game is going to be multi-plat. It's going to Xbox as well as basically any platform that's going to be able to support it. Jim Ryan has already said that Bungie will be on rival consoles. So there's no question about that. We know that's the case. But when it comes to exclusive experiences, or what I believe to be on PlayStation and PC at the time, we know that there's a multiplayer standalone The Last of Us game development by Naughty Dog, likely Factions or whatever they're going to call it, just a way bigger type of game. Like, it's not going to just be that Factions multiplayer, but it's going to be a game with quests or missions, and you build your character and things like this. So I think it's going to be a multi-layered experience, at least based on the things that I've gathered with rumors and just general discussion online. Now, there are some speculation titles and there are some rumor titles as well. So the first one being PlayStation Home PSVR 2, that's pure speculation, but there's a lot of hints here and there that this could be coming back and it could be a PlayStation VR experience, which I think would make the most sense. Obviously, they could have a version of that too where you could play without having PSVR 2 just to make it way more accessible. So I think they will likely have that in two versions, being the PSVR 2 way and then the standard way of just playing with a controller. Then we have Twisted Metal, which is a rumored title that is in development, and I think that this could go the route of a games as a service type of title, and I do think it'll likely be free to play as well. We have Horizon. We've seen a lot of job postings within Guerrilla Games that kind of state games as a service and other type of requirements from their applicants, so it kind of hints towards possibly seeing something in that realm. Ghost of Tsushima, another game that we could see them do a games as a service type of game with. I know that Ghost of Tsushima has a Legends mode, which is a multiplayer type of thing. Maybe they just revamp that, or maybe they launch a whole new thing to really make that a games as a service title as well. We know Deviation Games is working on two games, one being a single player RPG, another one being a multiplayer game. I believe the multiplayer game will be a games as a service, and Haven Studio is working on something as well. I believe that that could potentially be one as well that ends up being a games as a service. So that leaves us with a couple that haven't been noticed. So if these are correct, we're looking at 8 titles in total. So what are the next 2 titles? What could be the 2 titles that could be coming out of PlayStation that are going to be a games as a service? And that leaves us with some new IP that we don't know about and projects we don't know anything about from specific studios. For example, Sony Bend is working on something. We don't know what this game is going to be or what it's going to offer or if it's going to be a games as a service. We have Sony Santa Monica working on a new IP. I don't know if that will be one of them. I think that's probably going to be a single player experience, more than likely. We got Bluepoint Games working on 2 new projects, one of them being a new IP, another one being what we believe to be either a remaster or remake, at least based on job postings. We have Housemarque probably working on something new. I don't imagine they're just sitting around doing nothing. Pixel Opus and London Studio as well. And we don't know what these 2 studios are working on either. Now, granted, London Studio could be working on Home or they could be working on something else. We know they're working on a multiplayer project. We know that for a fact. What is it? I don't know, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be another games as a service title. Now, granted, guys, we got to keep these things in mind. These studios likely have 1 to 2 projects on the go at a time. If you're Insomniac, maybe you got 3 on the go at a time. And so I think even though some of these are sounding like, oh, multiplayer, there's also probably going to be a second project that is a single player experience as well. We know that they are going to commit to that and stick to that because that's their bread and butter. They know that's where they are 100% successful. So they're not going to push that aside for games as a service, but they want to look for more avenues to make more money. And it makes sense to do that because, well, people also enjoy jumping into these kind of experiences, but at the same time, it's also very lucrative for PlayStation to do that if it ends up being successful. And again, these things are likely going to be on PC day and date, and the reason for that is to keep the population alive and well and healthy and having people really spending money and time in these games. And hopefully they'll be good games because I would hate for them to just turn into another EA or whoever else that's really just trying to take money. But I don't think Sony will do that. I think they really do focus on creating quality games, and I don't think that's going to change. They do talk about making these multiplayer live service games and that they are just going to be that quality that we know of in the single player experience and bringing it into live service games. So I really do believe they're going to do that. I don't think they're just going to look for money to, like, obviously money is a part of it, as it always is, but I think they want to stand by their reputation as well. The last thing they want to do is really tarnish that, right? Because that is their thing. That is their thing, is we create incredible experiences that you can't get anywhere else. So I really think we're going to see that. But that's all I have for you guys in today's video. I'd love to hear from you. What do you make of all this? What do you think of Sony's, what I'm calling, new blueprint of them wanting to do live service games and also at the same time do narrative driven experiences? How are you feeling about this? How do you feel about the idea of them going on PC day and date just to kind of help with the life of the game and keeping it strong and thriving for years to come? At least that's what I imagine their intention is. Let me know in the comments, and as always, if you have not subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get notified about all my upcoming videos, hit the like button, and share this video with a friend. And if you have not already, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch. Links will be in the description. I'll talk to you all on the next one. Take care.